What's up, guys? It's Valentine EX Turk with a different video this time. It's another fan video, another fan theory, and all this other good stuff from the Final Fantasy content. We're going to be taking a little bit of break from Final Fantasy 15, just a little bit. But I've been making Final Fantasy VII videos way before the hand and after hand and stuff like that, so, you know, I'm going to be making one right now. And what the subject is, what does Sephiroth's transformations mean? What symbolic meaning could it possibly have? This is where we're going to be examining the forms, the looks, the powers, and everything. And even the continuity of the whole Final Fantasy completion as a whole. You know, as a whole. And how it happens and what it means. We already know base Sephiroth, form is based off when Sephiroth used to be a first-class soldier of the Shinra Power Electric Company. So we're not going to be going deep. We're not going to be going deep within when he used to work for Shinra and he used to be a first-class soldier. You know, we're not going to be going into that. We already know that story. You know, it's the iconic story of Final Fantasy VII's. It's just as iconic as much as the Crisis Core part of that story is just as iconic as Cloud's cross-dressing, part in the Walmart arc, which I still say it's kind of fillerish because. But it fit into the point where they found out about Shinra, so it filled into the point where it made sense to the arc. But we're not going to be talking about any of those right now. I'm just saying it's just as iconic. So we're not going to be talking about we're not going to be talking about the particular base form he has from Crisis Core. And we're going to leave out Kingdom Hearts. This is going to be Final Fantasy VII only. So Kingdom Hearts does not actually coincide this timeline. This is the timeline or universe line or multiverse line. I don't care, multiverse line, whatever. It's not going to go and coincide that. So we're gonna not talk about Dissidia or Kingdom Hearts in this one. So this one, Sephiroth's not going to have the one black wing he has, unless it's talking about Advent Children, because this will also go into Advent Children. This will be part of the Final Fantasy VII completion. So let's get started right now. Bizarro Sephiroth is the form that Sephiroth takes after Sephiroth fuses with Genova and becomes, because the reason why Bizarro Sephiroth looks ugly compared to his second form is because it's more of her than him. First of all. It's more of her. That's why, that form looks kind of hideous. Also, if you watched Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, Geostigma was actually originally an attack called the Stigma, which poisons all your characters until they get down to 0 health. So it could be arguably said that that form dying could cause the stigma to go into the life stream as, a plague from the calamity to the world. And Sephiroth still has control of the farm but this is more, this is more of the calamity's work, This is more of her. That's why in that form he looks ugly, but that's where the stigma comes from. So it represents the union of both of them at the same time, but it's more Genova more than, than Sephiroth. So in that ecology, that's why he looks the way he does in Bizarro form. Now remember, this is only Form 1, so yes, this is not at its full power or at its strongest at this point. At this point, they just Sephiroth took control of her and they both fuse into one. So I don't think it really has any real meaning to that form, really. I think that form is just to show what it would look like as a union, you know. But with Sephiroth in control of the driver's seat kind of thing, I don't think Bizarro has. I think, if anything, it's supposed to be a visual version of Geostigma. This is what Geostigma would look like if it was personified. Because if you remember in Having Children, Geostigma was, the disease. This is what this disease Geostigma looks like personified. And hence why, it's why everybody catches it in the movie, pretty much, and it's like almost instant death after like few hours. But nonetheless, that's what I think its meaning is. I think that Bizarro Sephiroth is pretty much what I would call Geostigma Sephiroth, because he can use stigma and the form is really hideous looking. So with that to say, I think there's really no meaning to Sephiroth's, Bizarro form, really. I mean, I can't find one. If you can find one, you can put in the comments below, but I really don't find what's the I can't find the symbolic meaning besides the fact this is what Geostigma would look like as a person, personification, and that could be possible. That could be this also. It could be possible that the reason this form looks ugly is to showcase the monster that Sephiroth became after Nibelheim. That this is what he was on the inside all along, due to the events of Nibelheim. Because during the events of Nibelheim, he's changed from a stoic hero into, a psychopathic, deserter. And this could be probably what he really is on the inside, It could have that kind of meaning, but I don't know. It's just there's so many ways you can go about it, but I don't really know for sure until I go look it up probably on Google. But I don't think Bizarro version has any meaning at all, except for the stigma or the true version of Sephiroth after he turned. Now let's get to Safer Sephiroth, since we're on this clip now. Safer Sephiroth is what I call the perfect Sephiroth. Now, when they call him the one-wing angel in this form, they were actually referring to that one big wing he has that's a replacement for his arm. I think it's his right or left arm. I'm not good with my left and rights. Okay, don't get me in the comments. Don't hit me in the comments with that. But yeah, it's referred to that big wing on his arm when they call him the one-wing angel. This is where it originally came from. This is where the memes, the one-wing angel, come from, and the song, And this theme song wasn't actually his original song in the first place. It only became because people, the fans liked this song a little bit better, so it became his theme after that in Kingdom Hearts and Advent Children. But this form would be called I call him the perfect one. This one, he is a six-wing angel, and in this version, so it's kind of symbolic as to Sephiroth thinking that he's a god. That's why he takes that form. But in this form, Sephiroth can use 10 times more power than any form he's ever taken in any Final Fantasy or any other games he's part of. Because in this form, he can actually summon not Meteor. In this form, he actually could summon the sun, to hit the Earth, to hit all the planets that hit Earth. Pretty much, yes, he can use the sun in this one to do his dirty work on this one. So in this form, it's both symbolic because he's the sixth winged angel, and it kind of predicts like Armageddon and all that stuff. Because in this one, he has the powers to wipe out anything using the power of the sun. And he can use 10 more times power. I'd say this is the strongest version of Sephiroth as well, because he can use the sun and he can use these powers that's way unworldly, even more, so unworldly that it takes the entire avalanche to take down this form. Cloud cannot fight this form by himself. He would lose at this point. So it takes the entire avalanche to take down this version, because I'd say this is his strongest form. But to be symbolic, this would be the sixth wing angel. So it's probably like a predate to Armageddon and stuff like that. So that's the symbolic form of Safer Sephiroth. While also it could be what I call perfect Sephiroth. Like, this is the strongest. This is what he thinks he is on the inside, and that's what I would have to say on this one. Now the video's going overtime, so there's your little theories about the symbolic forms of Sephiroth. So may the crystal be with you. Have a nice day, and